April 16th, 2014. These are Earth-facing images from the SDO. If you remember yesterday, we were watching the sunspot in the very center grow. Now, I've added those images with today's images, and it continues. It's almost merged with the sunspot just below it. And it now has started crackling off these M-class flares. What that is doing at the present time, and I'll show you, is raising our density stream and our solar wind speed. Now, it's just now starting to pick that up, and I'll show you the charts. But watch this rapid growth. Now, what's happened with those three that are on top of each other and one to the left are all now classified in not as a group, but they're all double configurated beta gamma, and I will show you those charts. But it's becoming a dangerous situation, I'm afraid. The sun has been relatively quiet. We've had the small CME, small flares. But now even NASA's watching this, and the space alerts are going out. They've got what's called a proximity alert, because this is Earth-facing and where the magnetic connectivity between the Earth and the sun is. And guys, I've got a feeling that this has something to do with the alignment of Mars and Earth too. This rapid growth is kind of unusual, and we've got a lot of activity right here in the sun. Yesterday we were in alignment with Mars. It's just now pulling back out. But yesterday's when this spot started growing. And it's kind of like adding a magnet to the rope of magnetic connectivity here. But check this out. Again, Mars is behind us. We are connected differently as far as the exact location on the sun to Mars. But again, we're coming into that activity, and I think that's what we're seeing. This is the X-ray flux chart out of Boulder. You can see the activity starting to pick up just a little more frequency, but they've classified 2034, 37, 36, and 35 there in the center, all as double configurated beta gamma. See that? This is giving us a very large area that's Earth-facing. That's very powerful, guys. It could become very powerful very quick. Now, this chart is, as I begin the video, I had to take a break in the middle of it. It takes a moment to do this, but the temperature was rising, and again, I think that always affects our volcanoes, guys. The Earth absorbs heat at high frequency. It releases at low frequency. Now, this is what they're talking about on what's called an active region proximity alert. That's where the Earth is located as compared to these sunspots. And what this is telling you, that we have magnetic lines between the Earth and the sun. See the blue spot and see the chart to the bottom right. Earth is in the blue spot. You see the rapid growth of the one we're watching, 2037. We're connected magnetically to it. So energy from there is transferred directly. Plus, it creates this energy field that I'm talking about between the Earth, the Mars, and the sun now. But the chart to the right will tell you. You see in the bottom right, you've got Mars and Venus, and then in the left, in the gray below Earth, is where they're giving the Mercury connectivity. But we're in a close proximity alert, and they're watching this one grow fast. And I hope I'm wrong on this, but I think we're going to see some strong solar activity from that area. Also, in that line, you've got comet linear. You notice this is today's, but yesterday Earth and Mars were lined up on that blue, on the green area. Remember, Brother Paul was talking about Mars was the closest to Earth it has been in 6 years. Well, as that lined up, again, you're stacking magnets. Now, linear is in that line, but it's above the Earth and Mars. You see that? And it's so faded out. As it came around on the last loop, I think about 5 or 6 years ago, guys, they were getting pictures of it as it was glowing, just like we saw a lot of other comets. But now it's above Earth, and it's not being picked up. But I think it's because it has disintegrated so far. And you notice May 20th, it's starting to pass in front of Earth. Our time through the thickest part of the debris field is 23rd of May through the 25th. Now, I think we're already seeing that. We're getting a tremendous amount of fireball reports coming in. But again, back in March the 12th, we started entering this debris field. Look at the left of that. That's 2 years ago when we went through the debris field. See the difference? what it is, it stacked up multiple passes of the comet, and all of a sudden, all these different trails it has left are combined into one, and we're passing through it, and it is disintegrated. Now, I had a question about the quakes in Idaho. All of this is related. There was 100 quakes there Monday. Now, if you need to study back if you're in this area. Back in 1983, it was a 6.9 there, and a couple kids were killed. They were downtown. I think a storefront fell on them. But the when that quake struck in that area, and I'm going to show you an image, it created a giant crack in the earth. Now, if you're looking, when you go there and you look at the fault zones, this is in Challis, Idaho. The area I'm talking about. When you're looking at those fault maps, pay very close attention to the pictures I'm going to show you. But this is the area we're talking about, and it's close enough, they're saying, to Yellowstone to be affected by this lava movement. Now, that was 83. Remember, it was 59, I think, when we had the big quake above that. But here, they call it the Boar Peak earthquake, October 28th, 83. First reported as a 7.3. Now, it talks about the buildings and the destruction here, and the two children that were walking home from school that were when the storefronts fell on them. But it was 50 miles southeast of Challis, this particular quake, the epicenter was. And so that area was active at that point. It released a great amount of pressure. This crack right there is 350 feet wide in some places. Now let's take a look at some of the information on that, because it's again, the pressure is rising back on it. It says the rupture caused clear surface faulting for 21 miles. It was on the Lost River Range. The extensive part was along a 5-mile area between West Spring and Cedar Creek. Ground surface was literally shattered into tilted blocks. It also, near Chili Buttes, it said a series of artesian fountains and sand blows erupted immediately after the main shock of the 83 quake. And check this out. These are some images back then. See the old cars there on the road, guys? So that that area is known for this. Now, you look at 83, what have we got, 31 years between that quake, and now we're seeing the pressure build back up. I don't know if it's, of course it would be more populated than that area. I'm not sure how big the cities are, but that 100 quakes in one day is a lot. Now, I went back as I'm ending the video and got the last few images, notice on the timestamp, and you can see the energy is still building. About the last 3 or 4 images here are more than the ones we saw in the first part of this. Again, sometimes it takes a few hours to do it, and I always like to check back and get the most current information. But it's still growing, still watching it, and you notice the CMEs coming from above it. Also, I went and this is the newest ACE chart. Density is starting to rise. Temperature has started to go back down. Notice that? That's good because of volcanoes. Radial speed is back off that dip. Also, you can see in the top the disruption in the magnetic fields in the blue and the red lines, guys. Again, radial speed, not a big deal, but wasn't a major CMEs. But one was strong, and this is a collective thing. With these many flares, and you saw all those little X's pop up on those M flares, that just keeps adding to the electrons and protons that are bombarding the Earth. But as a heads up on that, guys, we're going to keep an eye on this. Again, NOAA's watching that sunspot. They're keeping an eye on it, and I think you should too. It's Earth facing. Be safe.